Welcome to Pain in the Grass, the official Lawn Pride podcast, where we dig deep into the real problems hiding in your yard. From weeds to grubs to mystery brown spots, we've got the dirt. Let's grow better together.
Welcome to the deep dive. So we've got this huge stack of sources you've sent in. Articles, research papers, and a bunch of notes, all really pointing to one thing: how to get a truly stunning, resilient lawn. But we're not talking about quick fixes this time.
No, not at all. Our mission for this deep dive is to pull out the specific steps you need for 2026. We're really trying to shift away from that old cycle of just, throwing chemicals at every problem.
Right.
The sources show us it's about seeing your turf as a living ecosystem, an investment, really.
An investment that pays off in property value and, well, a smaller environmental footprint too.
Exactly.
I really like that shift in focus. It's moving from being, I guess, a reactive homeowner to a proactive manager of an ecosystem.
That's it. You're treating the whole system, not just the symptoms like brown patches or a few weeds.
And if we want that to work, we have to start where it all begins.
Beneath the surface.
Okay, let's unpack that. The invisible groundwork. The sources are really clear that the first step has to be data-driven, which brings us to goal number 1. Establish a soil health baseline.
Oh, it's absolutely essential. I mean, if you skip this, you're basically flying blind. It means scheduling a comprehensive soil test.
And what does that test actually measure?
3 critical things: pH, nutrient content, and the one people often forget, organic matter.
Most people just think, okay, a test tells me how much fertilizer to buy.
Right.
But the research we looked at suggests the availability of those nutrients is the real issue, and that's tied to pH.
That is the aha moment, honestly. Think of pH as the master key for your soil. If it's too acidic, so a low pH, or too alkaline, a high pH, then key nutrients like iron or phosphorus get chemically locked up. They're in the soil, but the roots can't absorb them.
So you could be pouring expensive fertilizer all over your lawn, following the directions perfectly.
And it does nothing.
And the plant is just starving. The nutrients are there, but they're, inert?
Exactly. You think you have a nutrition problem, but what you really have is a chemistry problem.
So testing every 2 to 3 years just eliminates all that guesswork.
It gives you the roadmap.
Okay, so once we know the chemistry, the next physical step is about alleviating stress, right? Especially in my area, with all this clay soil. That brings us to goal 6, address compaction through aeration.
Yes. Compacted soil is genuinely suffocating your lawn. It's choking it. It restricts the flow of oxygen, water, nutrients, all the things that need to get to the deep roots.
So if you have puddles after it rains or the ground feels hard as a rock,
core aeration needs to be an annual priority, no question.
And the timing on this is super specific, and it's kind of counterintuitive for a lot of us.
It is. It goes against that whole spring cleanup rush.
Right.
You have to aerate when the grass is actively growing so it can recover fast.
So for cool season grasses like fescues up north, that's early fall.
Early fall. And for warm season grasses down south, you're looking at late spring. Aerating in the dead of summer can actually do more harm than good.
Okay, so that one treatment can make a huge difference in density.
A massive difference.
And improving the soil structure like that perfectly sets the stage for what we feed it, which is goal number 2, transition to organic-based fertilization.
This is a fundamental mindset shift. We're contrasting those synthetic fertilizers.
The ones that give you that super bright, almost neon green color overnight.
That's them. They feed the blades. But they're high-dose salts that can actually harm the soil's microorganisms over time.
So instead of that quick hit, we're aiming for long-term soil health.
Exactly. An organic or hybrid program builds the soil itself.
What are we actually using then? What does that mean in practice?
It means things like composted materials or specific soil enhancers like biochar.
Biochar, what is that exactly?
It's basically a very porous charcoal that's incredible at holding water and nutrients right where the roots can get them. Or humic acids, which are like concentrated organic boosters.
Got it. So we're not just giving the grass a fast food meal, we're building a better home for all the microbes in the soil.
A better apartment building, that's a perfect way to put it. It improves structure, water retention, and builds resilience.
But it's not instant, is it?
No. The research is clear. This transition might take a season or 2 to really see the full payoff, but it's worth it.
That's a fair timeline for a major system change. Okay, so foundation is set. We've tested, we've loosened, we've started feeding the soil. Now let's get into the weekly habits, where small changes can have huge results.
Right, and this is where almost every homeowner makes mistakes, starting with the biggest one, water.
Yeah.
Goal 4, optimize your irrigation strategy.
So I always thought watering late at night was the best way to avoid evaporation, but the sources say that's actually a bad idea.
A very bad idea. Overwatering is probably the most common mistake, and it doesn't just waste water. It encourages fungal diseases. When the grass blades stay wet all night, it's the perfect breeding ground for things like brown spot and dollar spot.
So what's the better strategy? The one that gives you those deep, strong roots.
Water deeply, but infrequently. You actually want to stretch the roots a little bit.
Force them to grow deeper, looking for moisture?
Exactly. It makes them way more drought resistant. The guideline we found is that most established lawns only need about 1 inch of water a week, and that includes any rain you get.
And what about the timing? When should we water?
The sweet spot is early morning, say between 4 a.m. and 8 a.m. You minimize evaporation, but the sun comes up and dries the blades quickly, which cuts that disease risk right down.
Makes sense. Okay, next up, the thing we do most often. Goal 5. Master the art of proper mowing. This sounds simple, but there are a couple hard and fast rules.
The first one is the 1/3 rule. You have to commit to never ever removing more than 1/3 of the grass blade in a single mow.
Because when you scalp it, you stress the plant out.
You totally stress it out. It has to use all its energy to regrow leaves instead of growing deep roots. It gets thin, weak, and disease-prone.
And the second rule, which seems so minor, is about the blade itself.
Sharpness. A dull blade doesn't cut the grass, it tears it.
Leaving those raggedy white tips you sometimes see.
Yep, and those are like open wounds. Perfect entry points for disease. A sharp blade makes a clean cut that seals up fast.
But the biggest piece of advice from the sources, the one that saves you actual money, is about the clippings.
The clippings. We're not bagging them anymore.
No more bagging.
That's right. Leaving those short clippings on the lawn returns valuable nitrogen right back to the soil. The research shows that just by doing that, you can cut your fertilizer needs by up to 25%.
25%? That's a quarter of your annual budget just by not bagging? That's a huge incentive.
It really is. It turns mowing from a removal task into a fertilization task.
Okay, last one in this section is goal 9. Monitor and manage thatch accumulation. I think most people only notice thatch when their lawn feels kind of spongy.
It is spongy. It's that layer of dead and living organic stuff between the green grass and the actual soil. A thin layer is okay, maybe 1/4 of an inch. It's a good insulator.
But when it gets too thick,
if it gets over 1/2 inch, you've got problems. It becomes a barrier.
Blocking water and air.
Right. And it harbors pests and stops new grass seed from ever reaching the soil.
So if you measure it and it's over that 1/2 inch mark, you need to dethatch or power rake.
Yep. And just like with aeration, you do it when the grass is growing strong so it can recover quickly.
Okay, as we move into this last set of goals, we're really shifting our mindset, aren't we? We're moving from reacting to problems to actively preventing them. So how do we get ahead of the game?
Prevention is always cheaper and more effective. That brings us to goal 7. Develop a weed prevention calendar. The focus here is on pre-emergent products, the ones that stop weeds before you even see them.
And the timing on that isn't about what date it is, right? It's about temperature.
Absolutely not. For something like crabgrass, the trigger is when the soil temperature consistently hits 55 degrees Fahrenheit for a few days in a row.
That's when the seeds germinate.
That's the moment. You have to be ready right then.
So we have to become amateur meteorologists just to stop crabgrass. That's a whole new level of diligence.
It is, but you can track soil temps online pretty easily now. But remember, the best defense is always thick, healthy turf. It just crowds weeds out.
And the notes challenge the very idea of what a weed is, bringing up clover.
Right. A lot of people try to kill clover, but it's actually a nitrogen-fixing plant.
Meaning it pulls nitrogen from the air and feeds the grass around it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When your soil is really healthy, you can start to see that some of these so-called weeds are actually benefiting the system.
That flows perfectly into goal 3. Implement integrated pest management, or IPM. This is about moving away from that old spray everything approach.
IPM is a much smarter strategy. It's about monitoring pest populations, understanding their life cycles, and only stepping in when they hit a certain threshold.
Give me an analogy for that. What's a threshold?
It's like, you don't call an exterminator because you see one ant in your kitchen. You call them when you see a whole trail of them every day. You only act when the population becomes a real threat to the health of the system.
So you're not just nuking your yard and killing all the beneficial insects along with the bad ones.
That's the key. You're preserving the natural predators. You use targeted, selective products only as a last resort.
Okay, we've covered present health. Now let's talk about the future with Goal 8. Plan for overseeding and renovation. Why do we need to keep adding new seed?
Because even the best lawns get tired. They thin out from stress, age, disease. Overseeding is how you introduce new, improved grass varieties, ones that are more resistant to disease or more tolerant of drought or shade. You're constantly upgrading your lawn's genetics.
And just throwing seed on top of the lawn is a waste of money.
A total waste. Seed-to-soil contact is everything. If the seed doesn't touch dirt, it's not going to grow.
So you need to use those special machines like a slit seeder.
Exactly. Something that physically places the seed into the soil. It maximizes your success rate. And again, timing is fall for cool season, late spring for warm season.
And that brings us to the big one, the overarching philosophy. Goal 10. Create a long-term sustainability plan.
This is about the bigger picture. It's about reducing your inputs, your water, your fertilizer, year over year. A great strategy is to maybe shrink your total turf area, introduce some native plant beds that are adapted to your climate and need way less help.
And that ties directly into people's wallets. How much are we talking about saving if you start cutting back on turf and inputs?
It can be substantial. You're cutting fertilizer costs, pesticide costs, the most expensive one of all, irrigation. You can set real goals, like a 10% reduction in water use next year. A truly sustainable lawn needs less intervention over time, not more.
And that really is the core finding from all of this, isn't it? These 10 goals all work together.
They absolutely do. It's a positive feedback loop. Healthy soil grows dense grass,
Which crowds out weeds.
which means you need fewer herbicides.
Which protects all the good bugs and microbes in the soil.
It's a self-completing cycle. Every fix supports all the others.
But 10 goals can feel pretty overwhelming for someone just starting out. What's the final practical advice?
Don't try to do all 10 at once, please. The sources all say to pick 3 or 4 priorities based on what your lawn needs most right now.
So start with that soil test, or if your yard is rock hard, start with aeration.
Exactly. Build from there. And document everything. Take pictures, log what you apply. Consistency is what really creates the magic.
It's clear that a thriving lawn in 2026 is less about buying a magic product and more about becoming an expert on your own little ecosystem.
Which brings us to a final provocative thought for you to chew on. Given that we found leaving grass clippings on the lawn can cut your fertilizer needs by 25%, what other waste products in your yard could actually be resources?
Things like shredded leaves or old mulch.
Shredded leaves, storm debris, you name it. How can you start to see your yard not just as a patch of grass that needs things, but as a closed-loop nutrient recycling center to finally achieve that goal of using less?
Thank you for listening to the Pain in the Grass Fodcast, sponsored by Lawn Pride of North Charlotte, Huntersville, your go-to name in turf care for homeowners and businesses seeking beauty, quality, and reliability, powered by family and fueled by passion. Until next time, make sure to take care of that pain in the grass.